Welcome to module number 8, and we are continuing our thinking along the lines of learning outcome number 3, understanding the importance of people in successful projects. What are we going to cover in this particular module? We're going to cover the following key topics. People are central to the method, people and the PRINCE2 principles, people and the PRINCE2 practices, people and the PRINCE2 processes. So this would be the areas of our focus in this particular module. Now, people are central to the method. There are 3 people-focused activities. One is leading successful change, and the other one is leading successful teams, and communication is a third people-focused activity. And at the center of the interface of all of these 3 focused activities is people who are central to the method. Now let's kind of focus on the first activity, people and PRINCE2 principles. Now, PRINCE2 is based on 7 principles, as we looked at earlier on, one of which is that all PRINCE2 projects must define roles, responsibilities, and relationships. Now, this ensures people factors are continually addressed throughout the project's life cycle. Now, people factors permeate the other principle. When we examine the 7 principles and the people interface, we would get a better insight into people and the PRINCE2 principles. Let's start off with the first principle, ensure business justification. Now, the business justification of a project needs to satisfy all project interests. And the 3 key project interests would be the user interest, the business interest, and the supplier interest. So ideally, in a board composition, we make sure that all the 3 interests are represented. At the same time, when we create a business justification document in the form of a business case, we've got to make sure that all these 3 interests are kind of catered to. The second principle is learn from experience. Now, people factors such as behaviors, culture, and relationships are difficult to document and are best learned through social learning. Now, some additional factors where people elements permeate the principles would be the following. The third principle is management by stages. Stage boundaries provide a more controlled way to review the skills needed for the next delivery stages. Now, please keep in mind that at a minimum, in PRINCE2, you need 2 stages, the initiation stage and a subsequent delivery stage, but then you could have multiple delivery stages where you are engaging with multiple suppliers and different stakeholder groups. So as you come to the close of a particular stage, there's a need for us to review the skills needed for the next delivery stage. So that's the people factor embedded within managed by stage principle. The fourth one is management by exceptions. The extent of delegation is often dependent on the level of confidence and trust that exists in the key relationships. And the fifth one is focus on products. Co-creating products with agreed product descriptions with the business, user, and supply communities unites their different perspectives. Now, think about a housing project. Now, when you are building a house, which is the project product, you would need to kind of engage the business. You would need to engage the supplier or the contractor who would be building the house and who ultimately would be using that particular house. Good to kind of keep all these 3 representations in perspective when we create our product descriptions. And number 6 is tailor to suit project environment. Tailoring supports the ability to adapt the PRINCE2 method to the people and the organizations involved. Now let's kind of look into a scenario of management by exception principle. The Now by You project team is formed of people with different backgrounds and levels of experience. Now, generally, they all share a drive to use their competencies to make the world a fairer place. Being new by you, the contracted project manager mentoring the project team has asked team members to complete a competency self-assessment. The project manager has also initiated a series of individual conversations to become familiar with the team's competencies and experience, as well as their level of project management and campaign management knowledge. It's become clear that the to-be appointed project manager, who is currently part of the donations team, is a skilled individual aware of their strengths and weaknesses. They are a fast learner who has demonstrated awareness of project management. Therefore, the contracted project manager is managing by exception, asking for decisions to be made without much supervision and to be notified of any deviations against tolerances. Now, by contrast, the campaign team manager is a specialist in campaigns but lacks planning and coordination skills. The contracted project manager has decided that a closer management style is needed, and the delegation level will be based on direct instructions, coaching, and slowly granting more autonomy in the completion of project tasks. Now, we kind of looked into people and PRINCE2 principles. Let's kind of focus on people and PRINCE2 practices. PRINCE2 defines 7 practices that are essential aspects of project management that must be continually be applied and in parallel throughout the life of the project. Now, the organizing practice explains how people organize within a temporary project management team. In this way, it ensures that the interests of the user, supplier, and business are represented in the project and establishes the design and development of the project organization. People factors are represented in all of the practices. And let's move on to the third element. We looked into the PRINCE2 and people and PRINCE2 principles, people and PRINCE2 practices, and the last component is people and the PRINCE2 processes. Now, PRINCE2 processes are organized into 4 layers. Up on the top is the business layer. Right underneath that is the directing layer. That's where the members of the board sit. And then right underneath that would be the managing layer, where the project manager sits. And then finally, the delivering layer, where the team managers and team members sit. People factors such as behaviors, culture, and relationships are included in the processes, explaining how people interface between the layers.